Oh yeah, sexy biscuits. Nice.
Long boy clothes, 1975. A YouTuber's on the rise. Reviewing games late at night and sometimes friends used to bug me. Long boys clothes, 1975.
Hey YouTube, Lawn Boys Post 1975. Those who know me and those who watch my channel will probably be aware of two things. The first is, this is the altar at which I worship. The second is, the God I worship at that altar is this bloke. Sir Clive Sinclair. Sir Clive Sinclair changed the landscape of home computers forever in Britain. To some degree, you could argue, you know, he had a knock-on effect around the world. Computers in this country in the early 80s, we were the biggest manufacturer of computers in the world. They're all so expensive, so he was the first person to release a colour machine at a very, very affordable price. Way cheaper than everything else, and it sold through the roof. And for many people, you know, particularly those of my generation, it was our first true gaming machine. It's absolutely fantastic. For such an underpowered machine in the hands of the right programmer, it was a box of magic tricks. You know, there were so many great games. There were arcade ports, there were, you know, strategy games, flight simulators, text-based adventure games, you name it, there was a game on the system. Now, I was such a massive Spectrum fan, I was asked if I could, you know, since I've never mentioned it, but I played a lot of Spectrum games on my channel, if I could name my top 10 favourite Spectrum games. I had to write it down because I wouldn't be able to remember the order otherwise, but after a lot of thinking and deliberation, I managed to do it. So, excuse me, khaki throat. So, number 10. Now, some of these are classics, some of them are just classics to me. They may not all be the best examples or representation of, you know, what the Spectrum could do, but they are my 10 favourite games on the system. So, number 10 would be Star Strike 3D. Now, this is a very early game on the Spectrum. It came out only on the Spectrum, I believe. There is a sequel, but it's safe to say in, you know, the early 90s, I wish, the early 80s, you know, everyone was in love with the Star Wars arcade game, and there was no official version of it yet. And so this company basically made a hooky knockoff version of it with enough subtle differences, you know, that they didn't get their balls sewed off. But the 3D graphics were genuinely very impressive. I had super tight controls and it felt like Star Wars, and for me and my brothers, that's why we fell in love with it. I'll show you some footage. Oh man, someone should do a hack of it, fix the sound and then shade these catwalks and towers and shit. Right, get ready. Right, so as I said, it's more like Jedi when you get to the end, if I get to the end. Number 9, Renegade. Get in front of me, get in front of me. Here we go. Please mind the fucking gap. Right, oh, I got time limit and I got 2 lives. I forget how many levels there are, there's a few. Oh, someone's entered the fray, right. Now this was based on the Technos arcade game of the same name, and it was the first, or my first sort of beta I played on the system. That was a stage scrolling beta. You could go forward and backward though. It was 3 split screens. It was a brilliant copy of the arcade machine. You had super tight controls. The graphics were fantastic, as was the sound. I mean, I absolutely loved and adored it. I think this was probably one of the better ports of the across the 8-bit systems, but that's by the way, because I absolutely loved Renegade. Right, so the next one would be Aliens. Oh, Aliens. Right, so I started as Ripley. The only thing that is annoying, it came with a full map. There you go. This is what I mean, like you've only got left to right, but if I press space I will progress through the doors. If you shoot the door, you'll, blow a hole in it. You don't have to. You can just press space in front of it to progress through it. But if you shoot the lock, that's a shot lock there, then you'll have to shoot the door because you can't progress through. There will be alien jizz on the walls that you have to clear, because if you do not, then aliens will spawn out of it. Do not shoot an alien in front of a door. A little bit frustrating, this bit, because basically it will automatically leave a pool of acid on the floor in front of that door, and every time you go through it, your health will go down. Electric Dreams made this based on the movie of the same name. You could probably say that it was the first survival horror game on the Spectrum. You had multiple characters that you could, switch between, and it was a first-person shooter, crude by today's standards, but quite, good for back then. Super, super atmospheric. When you saw the alien on the screen, you had a finite amount of time to shoot him, or he would kill you. You'd lose that character. You would swap between the characters to maximise your ammunition, and I just remember that it was so tense. I never beat it, but I'd still love it to this day. Number 8, Bobble Bobble. I always struggle really hard to say Bobble Bobble. There we go. Yay, I'm a little dragon. Right, so jump. There we go. And it's got the, the traditional, bubble bubble music. Oh, you could jump off your bubbles, I forget that. Can I just say, the jumping noise is identical to the 48K Spectrum. The music goes a long way to distract you from it, because by itself, with no sort of noise, or music I should say, in the background, is a little bit irritating. But anyway, that aside, there's no denying it. This is an absolutely shit-hot game. There we go. Oh, bollocks. Which again is an arcade machine released by Tato, where you were Bob and Bob, and you were two little dragons, and it was a clear screen type of game. And basically you would project bubbles to trap the enemies in them, then you would pop the bubbles, they would leave fruit, you get the fruit. Once you killed all the enemies, you would go to the next screen. Now, number 7, Commando. Now you're thinking this looks basic, it certainly sounds basic, but this is actually a pretty decent representation of the arcade machine, believe it or not. Ah, shit, and it's balls hard. Right, go on. I don't think I ever got past level 3. Oh, nade you, bitch. Nice. Nading people in this game is so, satisfying. That red box with the awful colour clash, that was more nades. Commando was released by Elite on the 8-bit systems, and it was based on the Capcom arcade machine of the same name. Lone, sort of Rambo-esque bloke shooter running up the screen, 4 stages, endless bad guys coming at you, vehicles, you had a machine gun and you had grenades, and the Spectrum version was absolutely fantastic. Brilliant graphics, really did feel like the arcade machine. So again, getting to experience the arcade machines on the Spectrum was something that was so special for us back in the day. But it was so hard, and there was no auto fire. So I used to do the movement, and my twin brother used to hammer the M key. To which my dad would always used to say, shouldn't you change the key so you don't wear it out? And we would say, but M's the fire key, Dad. I'm pretty sure he just thought we were morons. Right, so the next one would be Robocop. Number 6, Robocop. The animation. I never played the second one. Apparently it's quite good. I just looked at screenshots and it just differed too much from this. What can I say? Even as a kid I feared change. There you go. I'm going to try and kick an armor-plated cyborg, because that's a good idea, especially since he's got a gun. Oh. I loved the games Ocean did back in the day. They did so many great movie titles, it was through the roof. And my health. That was health I picked up there. I don't remember these early games being so hard. I sailed through this when I was a kid. Based on the movie of the same name. It's funny because the arcade game was actually licensed off this, hence the fact that you can see the Ocean logo actually on the arcade machine. People always thought that this was, after that, but it wasn't. Side scrolling, multiple stages. Some stages, emulated like the crosshair thing of, Robocop's aiming device, where you had to shoot bad guys in a first-person stage. Then you had the face fit, to identify bad guys. Had absolutely phenomenal music on the 128K, some of the best music, and it was brilliant, brilliant graphics. And it stayed number 1 for like 18 months. That's absolutely insane. Now, number 5, Bomb Jack.
You're going to hear keyboard crunching because the mechanic is simple. You have a jump, you can't out and out fly. Oh, but if you tap it, you can sort of hover. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. The other interesting thing is, if you get that, oh, that's a power pill. There we go. I kind of use them in the same way I do in Pac-Man, which is I don't really care about eating the bad guys. Eat? Do you eat in this? I use it.
This was by Elite again. They did some brilliant home ports, and it was a port of I forget who made it. Takara or tomorrow? I don't know. The port of the arcade machine, multiple stages where you would jump and then glide, had to collect bombs before they blew up, to clear the stage, avoiding bad guys. It played to the Spectrum strengths. It was monochromic. It was actually better than the Commodore 64 version because the controls were so much tighter. But having played it in the arcades, it was another great example of something that I would kill to play at home. So when we got the chance, and it was such a good port, I sank so much of my life into this game. It's still an amazing game to play. Now, number 4, Wave the Exploding Fist.
What have I got? Ooh. Well, there we go. Now look at the top of the screen for half of a yin and yang. By the way, the name, I guess, is the Way of the Exploding Fist. Kind of, come on. Ooh, oh, you bastard. I don't know, pinched based upon Bruce Lee's fighting style, Jeet Kune Do, because wasn't that the Way of the Exploding Fist? Oh, shit. So if I just, how do I punch? Let's try punch. Oh, that's a good bollocks sounding punchy noise. Oh, yes. The animation is absolutely, just about, mate. Absolutely superb.
Now this was a one-on-one fighter. It was 1 hit, 1 point, a couple of points, and you would beat your opponent. I don't know if this beats the System 3 game, IK, or that beat this. They're very similar, but this was a game I loved as a kid because not only were there 26 moves that you performed on the keyboard, the graphics were stunning. The animation was absolutely top notch, and it was so satisfying, and it set the bar and probably is or was the best one-on-one fighter on the system right up to the end of the system's life. Right. Number 3, R-Type.
Oh, cheeky. This is a proper flashback. This is amazing. Oh, you press that, hang on. Is that the bounce lasers? Oh, frisky, hang on. That is. Oh, look at the effect of the gun. Literally, I haven't played this in forever, and this is as good as I remember. This game is absolutely fantastic. It's just a shame, as I mentioned before, that there was no sort of 128K version, so you had to load all the levels in individually. This is going to be properly tight, hang on. Shit. Oh man, hang on. Come on. Get it right. Ooh. Oh.
Based on the arcade machine of the same name, when this was announced, everyone thought Electric Dreams were, stupid. There was no way you'd be able to pull that game off on the ZX Spectrum. And the irony is, it's actually one of the better home ports. I think it's the best home port. The Spectrum was known for color clash or attribute clash, but this game had all the levels of the arcade, albeit you had to load them in separately, but that's a small price to pay. Had stunning graphics, absolutely stunning graphics, and it was so colourful, and there was no attribute clash. You had all the weapons, all the bad guys. It was the arcade. On the Spectrum. It's easily my favourite shooter ever on the system, but it's hands down, when people mock the Spectrum or knock it or say it's such a hokey little machine, then you show them R-Type and you watch them change their tune. Right, number 2, things are getting exciting. Target Renegade.
I think I have to destroy or pummel the shite out of a certain number of bad guys before I can flip screen, if you will. There we go. Right, let me pick it up. Stay away. Boom. There we go. Nice. How the hell do you take a sledge to the midriff and then just, shake it off? Someone's got 7-minute abs. Oh, there we go. Right. I mean, graphically, as I said, I've got fuzzy blinkers on the Spectrum. I think it did some absolutely fantastic games, but I think this looks absolutely superb. And as I recall, but this is probably the first time I've played it in about at least, I don't know, 20 years. I just think it looks absolutely fantastic. Oh wait, no, E&Q this motherfucker.
Target Renegade is the sequel to Renegade, but it wasn't a port from an arcade machine because there was no Target Renegade in the arcade. But when they bought the license for the original, they retained the right to make a sequel, and it's everything bigger and better than the original. The music on the 128K version is fantastic. Bigger stages of scrolling along. Your moves were tuned in better. You could fly and kick forward. You could use weapons. Swinging the lump hammer on bad guys was amazing. Loads of bad guys. Brilliant bosses, simultaneous two-player. I think it was capitalizing on the success of Double Dragon, but it beat Double Dragon to the Spectrum. And when it actually came out on the Spectrum, Double Dragon, this shat all over it. This is the finest side scroller on the Spectrum. It's still an absolutely phenomenal game. If you ever get a chance to play a Spectrum, and you love your fighting games, you've got to play Target Renegade. Right, number one. Now it's funny, this list was difficult to draw up, but when I started thinking about it, the first game, my number one, was there straight away. I just knew immediately what it would be. And that game is my favourite ZX Spectrum game of all time. It's Chase HQ.
There we go. See, how did he get through all of that? I didn't know Lamborghinis were known for their stealth. Oh shit, another turbo. Tumble effects are really, really nice, I find. Oh shit, right, come on. I'd imagine, this is far easier with a joystick. Oh, I braked in mid-air. Oh, see, special powers, Super Cup. Jackie Chan, Super Cup. Way. I really doubt, sincerely, that I would overtake a Lamborghini in a Porsche 928. Oh, time out.
Now, this was released by Ocean. This was obviously based on the Tato arcade machine of the same name. You're two cops in a Porsche 928. You have to track down other bad guys in cars, catch up with them initially. You got 3 turbos, and then ram the shit out of them until the damage goes so high on their car that they pull off the road, and then you beat the level. Now, this is probably one of the better 8-bit ports, and that goes against the Sega Master System, the NES. I think the only version that beats it, pains me to say this, but not by much, just by colour, is the Amstrad CPC version. But this is stunning graphics on the Spectrum. Still holds up now to me. Yes, I got Spectrum goggles on, but back then it was unbelievable. Of all the driving games, and there were some good, solid technical, examples of them, this blew them out of the water. The way the road moved, dipped up and down, the details of the cars, no slowdown, the speed that you felt, the satisfaction of twatting the other cars, the music on the 128K version. This is just an absolutely mind-blowing version of another arcade machine. It should not have been able to be have done on the Spectrum. Even when I play it now, it still absolutely blows me away that they managed to do this. I mean, if you've seen the Commodore 64 version, this pisses all over that from fucking 5 floors up. It's a superb game. It's a superb copy of the arcade machine, but it's also a superb game in its own right on the Spectrum that is miles above all the other driving games. So this was my top 10 favourite, Spectrum games ever. If you grew up with the Spectrum, if you're from my vintage generation, I would love to know what your 10 favourite games are on the Spectrum. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you later.